Hi, my name's Shawn Shaler. That's my friend Jesse Lobbs, aka Jester Tyler, on the socials. If you're into such things, you probably can't get a hold of him anyway because he's busy right now playing Pokemon Legends Arceus. I always forget to say Legends. Welcome to Pokemalarkey. Today we're talking about Universal episode number 36, America episode number 34, because we had another band episode that we'll talk about sometime in the future. But before we talk about any of those episodes, I want to talk to Jesse about how he's doing and what he's up to.
Hello, Shawn. I am, apart from still playing some Pokemon Arceus and every now and then switching back to play a little bit more of Pokemon Brilliant Pearl. Brilliant. Shining Pearl.
I don't know which is which.
One
of them's a pearl, one's a diamond.
Pearl. I'm playing Pearl still. Switching back and forth between those has been a lot of fun. I'm doing some reading. I've been trying to catch up on the Star Wars High Republic comic books, which, if you're a Star Wars fan and love comics, that is the place to be. It's great. That's what I'm doing. What have you been up to?
Aside from still playing a little bit of Arceus, not as much as I want to because my wife is in a huge Animal Crossing mood right now. So not as much as I want to, but then I just had the itch to make a random video again, and I've been in a Super Nintendo mood lately. So currently working on a Super Nintendo video that I'm pretty proud of. We'll see how it goes.
I look forward to seeing it.
Thank you so much. Are you ever much experience with a Super Nintendo or?
Super Nintendo was my very first console.
Awesome. So was that you had it essentially as long as you can remember, or were you sort of consciously alive when you got it and got to experience that high of a new console?
I was vaguely consciously alive when I first got it, and then I learned to really love it. I mean, I played Zelda Link to the Past on it. I played the game Paperboy, if you ever played Paperboy.
I love Paperboy for its place in history, but I despise it as a game.
It's very frustrating.
It's a horrifying game. What's the Grim Reaper even doing here?
Paperboy, actually... is a fantastic segue because as the Paperboy, you ride on a.
I see what you did there. I see what you did there. We're going with it. You got to go now. That's the segue.
I got to go now. This
the Bicycle Gang, the Bridge Bike Gang. Pardon me.
Airing in the United States, September 23rd, 1998. In the course of their journey, our heroes find a bridge that is about 20 kilometers in length. It's a long bridge, and there's no other way to reach Sunnytown.
Yeah,
a place that can show up anywhere with the anime.
It's the opposite of Gringy City or whatever. It's right across the water.
Gringy City, but they have to cross the bridge. It's the only way to the other side. The bridge, however, is specifically designed for bicycles. Our group has to end up because they can't afford a bike, and Misty makes sure to get a crack in about, I used to have a bike. If only Ash didn't destroy it.
It's been a while since she's gotten one in.
It has been a while since she's brought that up. They go to the Pokemon Center because they don't know what else to do, and Nurse Joy, informs them that she has several spare bikes. The Misty and Brock ride a tandem. Ash rides a single bike. And meanwhile, below the bridge, Team Rocket is in their binoculars, eyeing them and their plans to kidnap Pikachu. Our friends find themselves surrounded by a group of bikers. They try to escape, but they're challenged by a battle. The Pokemon battle does not go well for Ash.
I love this scene, though. I love it when he heats up Golem and Golem's rolling around and he's on fire.
That works well. Bulbasaur doesn't make good against Golem, but Charmander definitely does when he heats Golem up.
It's like a perfectly Shawn slapsticky moment that I'm very fond of.
Tyra, the other leader of the bike gang, sends out the best Pokemon of all time, Cloyster, who we find out in this episode only
Jesse, can we go one episode without you talking about vaginas?
No,
please?
It reveals that Cloyster only reveals its menacing, amazing face when it's ready to attack. Um, and Misty decides to send out Starmie, but of course Psyduck appears instead. Before Psyduck has a chance to develop a headache, Team Rocket shows up riding on unicycles and saying their motto. The Bicycle Gang is excited to see them because they used to know them as Trainer Jesse, Big Jess, or James as Little Jim, Trainer James, because James was the only one in the bike gang, a bike gang who rode with training wheels. They all begin to attack the gang. The police arrive. The gang ride off immediately, almost leaving Team Rocket behind. An Officer Jenny arrives, and they're called to an emergency as the weather becomes ferocious and turns into a storm. The gang and Team Rocket seek refuge in a building, and Team Rocket have to ride through the storm on their unicycles. God, in Sunnytown, Nurse Joy calls Pokemon Center because she's worried about medicine arriving that has to treat an injured Pokemon, a shoulder. And Ash and his friends end up working alongside with our bike gang to take care of the sick Pokemon. And Team Rocket ends up, after the storm, emerging out of the water on a single unicycle covered in seaweed.
The
episode.
The way that, so first of all, this episode is ridiculous, but not in the usual like that's such an outrageously stupid concept, ridiculous, but like a slapsticky, childish humor, kind of ridiculous. The Golem rolling around, I already mentioned. I love the way they introduce Big Jess and Little Jim. Like, just hearing the guy's voice say Little Jim, and it's so affectionate. There's so much fondness in his voice for Little Jim.
James is the single gayest anime character from my childhood. And I just can't get that image of him giggling, riding that bike with those training wheels out of my head. It's one of the funniest things I've ever seen.
It's so simple and it's so stupid, but it just, you can't look at it and not smile if you're a human with like a heart. Yeah. And Jesse, I know this is an impactful episode for you because of Cloyster. For me, it was an impactful episode because Golem being, you know, a what do you call it? A third evolution Pokemon that you couldn't get easily in the games because I didn't have people to trade with. So,
yeah,
and I didn't have the card. So it's like I knew of him, but this was my first interaction with a Golem, and he became a big favorite for me as far as
really
Pokemon
cool.
go. Yeah, he's a cool. That guy shouldn't have him, and he also shouldn't get literally just light bulbed by a Charmander. But it was really funny, so I'm gonna let it slide. And
you know, this fight gang is really menacing.
They've got good Pokemon.
Cloyster, that's great.
You've just come from a gym where like the most common Pokemon were Voltorbs and Venonats.
Yeah.
And now you've got this bicycle gang of children on a bridge. And they're throwing out Golems and Cloysters. That's wild.
You know what? Actually, we've been laughing a lot about these episodes in our last couple of weeks, but really, I think what these episodes are doing really well, this one and the other three, is they're introducing a lot of new Pokemon. Like each episode is like bam, 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 bam.
Some big names too.
Big ones.
Big names.
Like Cloyster, Golem, Kangaskhan, Venonat, Voltorb. Like there's a lot of them over the last couple episodes.
This one is just so big to me personally because like the Kangaskhan, you know, is cool, and Tauros is cool, and even Rapidash. But like I had known about Golem, and I knew you couldn't get him without trading, and I didn't have any of his cards or anything. So it made him more tangible, sort of, to see him in an episode of Pokemon.
Did you hear that Ash and his friends, when they get on the bike, the music that plays is the music you hear in the original Pokemon games when you get on a bike for the first time?
Oh, I didn't think about it. I can hear it in my head perfectly now, but I hadn't thought about that. And then another thing I like in this episode, hey, there's another like just a good nod to the games of using a bicycle, and also, it's got like the cute message of they team up with the bicycle gang to help the Pokemon, and that's kind of cute and fun and Pokemon-y, and it's an episode that just makes me feel good.
It's charming. It's very charming.
It is.
I enjoyed it a lot. I will again give Ash an A. You know what? Why not?
I'm upset at him for attempting a Bulbasaur versus a Golem. Like, I get it in theory, but it just in practice. And then I'm kind of upset that the Charmander versus the Golem worked. But his heart and head were generally in the right place. So I'll stick it at like an A- perfect personally. But like just the idea of 3 in a row of Ash progressing as a
doing
human,
all right.
He's
doing all right.
He's doing Ash. Just throw a Pokeball at a Pokemon, just one time. Let us see it. You big tease. And I am proud of him. And this is a really charming delight. It's just a feel good episode. And even though you could probably pluck it out and place it anywhere like you can with most Pokemon episodes, this one gives you a sense of real progress. Like they're crossing a literal bridge, and there's something about it that makes you feel like the story is actually moving forward. May not necessarily be true, but it feels that way.
It does feel that way. It's very good. I enjoyed it a lot. Very dumb, very silly, but a lot of fun. Definitely a lot of fun.
Speaking of a lot of fun, Jesse, one of my favorite things to do is to talk about Poke Adjacent with you. And another one of my favorite things to do is to ride ridiculous vehicles in fictional media. That wasn't as good of a segue as I wanted to. But anyway, we're talking about Pokemalarkey. Sorry, Poke Adjacent. And today's topic is favorite fictional vehicle. I said in video games. I don't think I meant to if I did. Favorite fictional vehicles. It can be favorite because it's realistic. It can be favorite because it's outrageous. It just can't be living creature because we rode living creatures a few weeks ago. So let's try to stick to the inorganic. Any medium that you can think of.
I'm gonna do first a video game that one that I love a lot, and then a just general more often in fantasy. And so first vehicle. One of my favorite things to do in any video game ever is in Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild, getting on top of a really high place, pulling out the slider, and just
using the fire to create the updraft. I love it.
So smart and cool. So that's a big one for me. And then also I love airships. I love zeppelins. I love any boat that's in the sky, more or less. In the Shannara series, which is a favorite fantasy series, they have airships they're giant boats that just lumber up into the sky. And I love that. Kind of like Treasure Planet, that same kind of idea with the pirate boats, but they just sail the universe. I love that. That's fun for me.
I am having an easier time coming up with like sort of the typical Shawn answers. And so, I like Harry Potter and the idea of a broomstick sounds cool. In the Dragon Quest, specifically 4, 5, and 6, in that trilogy, you get to ride some ridiculous crap. One of them is an island. I don't remember which it is, but it's a flying island. And you ride around on a flying island. That counts as a vehicle. And there's one of them, a magic carpet. That's another one of them. Again, I don't remember which one of those is which, from which games, but all good. But I want to think of something very Shawn, very, very crazy, very... What would it be? I do love the idea of a magic carpet. I wish I knew something other than video games. I guess Harry Potter's not a video game. I keep coming back to the magic carpet because it seems so high functioning. Like you roll it up, you throw it in your backpack, and you're all set. I think that's where I'm going to go. Unless in the next 10 seconds I think of something more entertaining. Magic carpet.
Yeah, that works.
Multiple appearances and multiple media. It's generic. It's a feel-good answer.
It is very standard. I love it.
Or a tank. No, those are two opposites. I want two opposite ends of the spectrum.
A magic carpet or a tank.
So there's an old NES game that most people don't like, but it's a common one that we just all had. And you just walked up to a tank and you pressed A, and just the idea of like so easily just jumping into a tank and navigating a tank has a lot of appeal for me, and I can only assume it's that easy in real
Love
life.
it. Yes.
No, I'll go with the magic carpet. I suppose I have to pick the one from like the Enchanted Forest Chronicles or the Dragon Quest game that's not sentient. I can't pick the one from the Aladdin cartoons because it's kind of sentient. So
Yeah.
I'm not gonna do that. But I'll pick one of the other ones. So
That works.
Jesse, that's all I got for you. Thank you so much for walking us through this just charming, delightful little episode.
Charming. Just delightful.
It is. This is one where if you pick up like Pokemon or somebody's like, I've never watched Pokemon before, and you're like, well, as a grown person, maybe it's not too late to start, but it might not be appealing to you. But here, try episode 36, The Bridge Bite Gang, because if you don't get some chuckles out of this, you just as well not bother.
Yes, you should get some chuckles. You definitely should.
If this one doesn't bring some joy to your heart, then you don't need to watch the other ones because you're not going to like it.
Agreed.
My name's Shawn Shaler. That guy over there is my friend Jesse Lobs, aka Jester Tyler, on the socials. Thank you so much for watching Pokemalarkey. We appreciate you, and we will see you next week.
Later.